What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we are here today with another episode of Jimmy Rants. And so I am away from home right now. So because of that, I am at a conference, Low Carb Houston right now. And so we're in between sessions, so I thought I would pop on here and do a quick Jimmy Rants on a topic that is of great interest to people when they start on a ketogenic diet, because they hear a lot of people talk about this particular subject we're going to hit on here today. So the Jimmy Rants episode today, we're going to focus on, do you need to test your ketones in order to eat keto? And so it's a good question. A lot of people ask about this. We get a lot of questions on my Thursday podcast called Keto Talk, ketotalk.com if you're interested, where people ask about, can I just eat low carb, high fat and assume that I'm keto? And so let's define terms a little bit. So keto is a diet that will produce ketones, which will indicate that fat burning has taken place. And the diet generally is one that is low in carbohydrates to your tolerance level, moderate in protein to your threshold, and then high enough in fat to give you satiety and real food-based fats at that. So when you do those things and you have this adaptation period of about 2 to 4 weeks, within that period of 2 to 4 weeks, most people will start producing ketones. So then the question becomes, well, how do you measure the various ketones? So there's 3 different ketones in the body. The one in the urine is acetoacetate. The one in the blood is called beta-hydroxybutyrate. And the one in the breath is called acetone. So everybody knows about peeing on a stick. Those keto sticks, you can go get them at any pharmacy in America. And you pee on them and you see a color from pink to purple. That is measuring the amount of expelled ketones from the body, the specific ketone acetoacetate. But then once you become keto adapted, for a lot of people, that acetoacetate can start to become converted into the usable form of ketone in the blood. And it's in the blood that you want to see, because that's actively what's flowing through your body, is what's happening in your blood. So that requires a finger prick with a blood ketone meter. The popular one these days is called Keto Mojo. And so you will test your blood ketones. You prick your finger, you get a little sample, you put it into the device with a strip, and then 10 seconds later you get your amount of blood ketones, somewhere between 0.5 and 3.0 for most people. 1 to 2 is where I like to stay. And so you can test that blood ketone with that meter. And then the last way is you blow into a meter. There's several devices that can measure for acetone. The Ketones Bluetooth, that's their new one. It seems to be one of the better, more affordable ones on the market. So I would highly recommend that one if you want to test for acetone in the breath. There's, like I said, several other companies out there that are making real fancy schmancy Star Trek versions of testing your breath ketones. But here's the bottom line. You've got all those ways to test, and those ways are quantifiable ways to see how you're doing on your ketogenic lifestyle. So if you go keto, you start eating lower carbs and higher fat and moderate protein and doing all the things to try to produce ketones, you can subjectively feel that it's working. So is your hunger down? Are you feeling more energetic? Do you have a stabilized mood? Do you have a sharper mind? Do you have all of these positive benefits happening in your health, including weight loss, including your skin clearing up? So many subjective signs that you can track. And a lot of people do. They keep track of all those subjective things and they go, okay, I must be doing all right. My body's not freaking out. You should be able to go long periods of time between meals and can spontaneously intermittent fast. Those are all subjective signs that if you never tested your ketones at all, you should be able to think pretty verifiably, I'm in a state of nutritional ketosis. But here's the thing. That's totally a guessing game. So do you need to test ketones to be keto? No. Should you, though, becomes the question. So I think everybody who chooses to eat a ketogenic diet should test their blood ketones, and I'm a big fan of testing blood ketones. You should test your blood ketones at least for a period of time so you see where you stand. Because there's a lot of people that go low carb and they assume all I have to do is cut my carbs and I'm in ketosis. No, not always. So you have to test to at least know where you stand. Do you have to test every day? No. Can you test? And here's how I do it on the cheap with blood ketones, since they do tend to be a little more expensive. You can test once in the morning, say on Monday, and then once in the evening, say on Thursday, and then do that for a period of 4 weeks. So you use a total of 8 of the blood ketone strips, and over a month's time, you see the trend of how you do. You tend to have higher levels of ketones in the morning. Not everybody, but most people. You tend to have, lower levels of ketones in the morning. Most people do. And there's a reason for that. Cortisol goes up in the morning, raises your blood sugar, raises your insulin, kills your ketones a little bit. Not a bad thing. But then at night, you tend to have, right before bedtime, the highest level of ketones that you would have. And so you wouldn't know that unless you're testing. So the answer to this question in this Jimmy Rants today, do you need to test your ketones to eat keto? The answer is no. But then the question is, should you? And I would say, I think you should, at least for a period of time, to know where you stand. That way, if you have any issues with some food that you're eating and whether it kicked you out of ketosis, other than the subjective measures of hunger comes back and you're not able to intermittent fast and you feel cranky and energy is down, all of those are subjective signs that would tell you you're out of ketosis. But don't you want to know verifiably? And I think the Keto Mojo, testing your blood ketones, and even the Ketonics Bluetooth, both of those are really good proxies for making sure that you're doing very, very well in your ketogenic lifestyle. So let's see what you guys have to say. Gerald says, I don't get why people say that some foods are not keto because it says soybean oil, cornstarch. Like, I know it's not organic, but telling people food isn't keto because of an ingredient, etc. That sounds like a really good Jimmy Rants episode for the future. So Gerald, if you will send that to me, I can definitely hit on that topic. All right, so we have been talking all about if you need to test ketones in order to eat keto. And I think the bottom line here is keto is whatever puts you into a state of fat burning. So for some people, they'll be able to eat a lot more carbohydrates than I could. For some people, they'll be able to eat a lot more protein than I could. For some people, they'll need to eat maybe a little less fat and still be in a ketogenic state. Guys, that is all good. And you know, this is an ancillary rant, but I think what has gotten us into trouble is to try to fit the keto diet within the realm of what the dietary guidelines say in terms of everybody must do the same diet. And everybody doing the same version of keto is not necessary. Like I said, some people can eat more carbs, more protein, less fat, and still get really solid blood ketone levels, whereas someone who's a little more insulin resistant probably needs to cut their carbs, probably needs to moderate their protein more, and probably needs to eat more fat in their diet. So if you're just joining us, we are ranting again here on Jimmy Rants. Do you need to test your ketones in order to eat keto? The answer is no, but it's no but. It's no, but you probably should, at least for a period of time. And that way, you know where you stand. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com. You can watch all the videos that are housed there on YouTube. You can also go listen to the brand new podcast coming out soon called Jimmy Rants, where we talk about or have snippets basically from these Jimmy Rants. L. Andrew says, I stopped testing daily. I only test once a month or so. Just like I don't want to chase the number on the scale, I stopped chasing the ketones because I know I'm good. Exactly. And there is this kind of movement of stop chasing ketones within the keto world, and I tend to agree with that. I do think you need to know where you stand, but at some point, if you've done this long enough and you've tested long enough and you keep seeing 1.1, 1.7, 0.7, and you're in that range, the goal isn't higher and higher ketones. The goal is in, and you're in, so stop testing. keto for a couple months, thought I'd been doing well. I bought a monitor today, tested my blood sugar 3.9, blood ketones 2.3. Yes, those are very good numbers, and welcome. Good eye. Thanks for being here, Christina from Australia. All right, guys, I'm going to pop off of here so I can get back to my conference, but thanks for watching this episode of Jimmy Rants, and we'll be back again real soon. Bye.